Any questions now? Yes, please. Khoka Sahib.
Hazur, this is the month of Muharram. It has just started a few days back, and it has been the most tragic first few days in Islamic history. And I don't know how far you would like to have sectarian questions, you see, discussion. Sectarian things, you see.
I have been discouraging such questions.
Yes, sir.
Which speak on differences between Sunnis and Shias.
Yes, sir.
Because already quite some bad blood has flown in each direction, and the situation in Pakistan and many other Arab countries is very sensitive. Sometimes it becomes volatile. So we better abstain from speaking on these questions. Yes.
That's why I was very hesitant to ask this question, because I saw nobody coming up, you see. I thought perhaps I could ask it, you see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to start a debate? Okay, please come on. I don't follow what you mean, but you'll make yourself clear, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I've just returned from Canada, and Queen was visiting.
The Queen?
The Queen of England.
Yes.
And as well as Queen of the Commonwealth, the way she is called. She was visiting Canada. A service was held recently, most probably it was last Sunday, in Toronto. It was held basically under the Anglican bishop. But what he did was a very different thing than what would have imagined in an Anglican church. There were people who came belonging to different religions, not only just different Christian churches, but also they were representatives of Muslims. They were representatives of, I could see a Sikh also there. Most probably there were others also. And this service which was held, in this one, I had made two observations. This is from the television which I was watching.
Right.
One, that these people belonging to different religions assembled in a single church. The same way as we feel that mosque belongs to Allah, and whosoever would like to worship Allah should have permission to worship in a mosque. The second thing is, nowhere, even when the Christians were presenting some verses from the New Testament, and a rabbi mentioned a few verses from Torah, nowhere the divinity of Jesus Christ was mentioned. This is some sort of a situation where they are trying to, I'm looking at it from my own point of view. This was an attempt to find a common ground between various religions. Interestingly, the Anglican part of it was presented by Prince Philip. So I thought I should mention it, and of course we should try to get more information from our missionary in charge in Toronto, Mr. Shamis, and I would like Hazur to comment on it, if he so wishes.
No, it doesn't need any comment. It's quite self-explanatory.
It's an opposite observation.
Exactly, that's right. Yes. Thank you. Any other, Dr. Mujib Sahib, would you like to ask something? Yes.
Yes, sir. If I may, I understand that Surah Fatiha is the essential part of namaz and rak'ah. And we also are told that we should follow whatever our Imam or Imam Salat is doing at that time. If a person joins the prayer when Imam Salat has already recited Surah Fatiha and he is reciting a portion of Quran, should we recite?
No, I understand your question. The point is that whatever Imam has done has been understood as the doing of his followers as well. This is the general state of affairs. Otherwise, why don't you proceed a little further and join in the ruku instead of while he's reciting some other verses? What would be the position then? Would you try to say rapidly recite Surah Fatiha in ruku and also a few verses? Won't you? You can't, even if you tried. So obviously that rakat is completed. When you join the Imam while he is in ruku, there is no doubt about that rakat having been completed on your behalf as well. So everything the Imam does is automatically understood to have been performed by the muqtadis as well. While they are there, they have to follow. Otherwise, even if they think otherwise or do otherwise, their individual actions are nullified under the superimposed action of the Imam. Yes, please, Dar Sahib.
Hazur, has there ever been a research been made to trace the ancestors of Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam in Persia? What I got in mind is that perhaps that might connect Hazur's family with Hazrat Zaid bin Haris physically also. Because we got an
If that is your idea, why don't you hold that research? And in London, you have all the facilities of literary research, because the very best libraries of the world are situated in London. I think after the great Moscow library, the British Museum library is one of the greatest. And many others. There are so many libraries here. So this is a good opportunity for you to make research. But if someone, for this particular research, I think Moscow is preferable, because all the wealth of knowledge of that region was collected over many centuries by the Russians in Moscow. And they are absolutely invaluable treasures of literary value. Literary treasures in Moscow. So if somebody learns Russian, and there are some whom I have advised to learn Russian. In England too, there are some students who wanted my advice, and I told them to learn Russian, take up Russian and specialize in this language. So what I mean to do is that when we have some good scholars ready, we should find some ways and means for them to go to study in Moscow, and while there they can hold many research works. They can pursue some research pursuits in which we are directly interested. This is one of those. I think this is a good idea. But anyway, by the time that happens, somebody here should take up this research work if he has spare time. Yes, please.
In Quran Kareem it is said Maliki Yawmiddin, the master of the day of judgment, absolute master of the day of judgment, when nobody will share.
Exactly, yes.
And also said that Malikul Mulk, the Lord of the land. But we
Mulk
see
means?
Lord of the lands. Does it mean?
Mulk, it's a wider word than just land. Mulk is not land alone. Mulk means he is the political authority, you can say that. Final, ultimate political authority, sovereign.
In Malik, the word Malik means, I understand that it means absolute master or absolute sovereign. Sovereign.
Yes.
So we see the people share the matters of the land with Allah.
How do they do
For
it?
the time being, the government is established, and the God is not obvious. Apparently, God does not interfere in their matters. So, would you please explain this?
The fact is that Allah Himself has defined the word Maliki Yawmiddin in the Holy Quran, and there the absolute mastery, which we have referred to, is said to be held at the Day of Judgment. And He Himself has declared that in this temporary phase of life, I'll give you a sort of mastery to judge you. If Allah had not given you a semblance of mastery over things here, it would have been impossible for you to come through any trial, because you will be completely helpless. Now, mastery is in everything, not only in property. Why do you limit it to the possession of lands or possession of wealth? Because mastery of Malik Yawmuddin is over everything, over your actions as well. So the true and the final definition of this mastery has been made in the Holy Quran itself, where it says, Yawma la tamliku nafsul li nafsin shay'a wal amru yawma idhin lillah. On the Day of Judgment, no soul would share anything, would possess anything whatsoever for itself or for anybody. La tamliku nafsul li nafsin shay'a. This is an absolute declaration which leaves no room for any exception. Neither a soul will possess anything for itself nor for any other soul. Wal amru yawma izin lillah, and all decisions will revert to Allah. That is the mastery of the Day of Judgment, as Holy Quran itself has explained. So that shows that prior to the Day of Judgment, we are made to share that mastery or exercise that mastery in our limited spheres. Because otherwise there could not have been any way of judging people's good acts from their bad acts, because everybody would be dispossessed of all will to do anything on himself, of himself. So that has been already witnessed in the creation of the angels. So where is the need for a Malak Salim then? If the mastery is to be possessed entirely by Allah, the angels are enough. No human being is to be created at all. Because whatever Allah would create, it would be without any volition of its own. Because no mastery. The result would be that instead of human beings, again angels would be created. So you can't conceive of any human beings without sharing some sort of mastery with their Lord. At His own behest, of course. After. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Kullu nafsin bima kasabat rahinatun illa ashab al-yamin.
Yes, quite right. What is exactly that is agitating you in this regard?
That means that we are mortgaged with Allah. While
I know that. What is it you want to understand?
Rahinatun.
Yes.
Allah is the owner of our lives.
Yes.
So if His owner, He made us mortgage our lives, are mortgaged to Him, that is
exactly. This is the same question, in fact, in a different way.
That's how I ask
what you are doing is you are answering Salim, in fact, not asking a new question. Because it is further explained, here in this verse, the relationship between man and God as master and servant is further explained. What sort of mastery is shared by human beings and to what extent? That has been explained. Kullu nafsim bima kasabat rahinatun. He is not the absolute owner of anything or any acts, even of any acts he does perform. The relationship is like you give something as mortgage and you remain the possessor while he exercises the rights of usage for a while. So the possessor can always take the mortgage back. So this is what Allah has explained in this verse, Kullu nafsim bima kasabat rahinatun illa ashabul yameen. Now this is a most beautiful exception. Ashabul yameen means those on the right side. Right side of what? No, not only that. This is a verse of very wide application. Right side also means the right side of Allah. You know, there is a wrong side and a right side in that sense. Left in the Holy Quran has been explained as the wrong side. Repeatedly this has been used. And the right stands as a symbol for the right in the sense of right or wrong. So in English we also say somebody is on the right side of someone, which means Allah's treatment to them would be different. They would be made a sort of owners because everything they do is according to the will of Allah. So they will not be brought to reckoning like ordinary people. There the reckoning would be hard and tough on them. That we gave you this for a while and you misappropriated things and you didn't discharge your responsibilities properly. That would be the sort of reckoning for every ordinary person. But those who have given everything for the sake of Allah, even their will, their best desires, and have completely got subjugated to the will of Allah, for there the reckoning would be a different type. And this is what the Holy Quran says, Illa ashabul yameen, except those who are my own, who are on my right side. They possess things with me as if they are mine and they are theirs. We are joint holders as if. So that is the greatest expression of love for the righteous, one of the greatest expressions of love which you find in the Holy Quran. This is witnessed in a very interesting anecdote. This is the same phenomena belonging to the Ranjit Singh, great Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Once he ordered the keeper of his stable not to give his favorite horse, which was very much loved by him, to anyone. So the keeper asked him, to none whatsoever? He said, to none, whoever he may be. So he said, all right, I will not. Now that horse was also the favorite of his son. So he went to the stable and asked for the horse. And the keeper said, no, it's impossible. Maharaja has forbidden. So he beat him up and took the horse by force and rode it and returned it to the stable. Now Maharaja Ranjit Singh was one of the greatest Sikh Maharajas. He was a man of principle, though illiterate, but a man of great learning and wisdom. And he was highly respected in the European states of those days. He had made his impression there too. The French, Napoleon also sent his emissaries to Maharaja. That is the station of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So because he was a man of principle, he ordered that his own son to be beheaded. Now the mother of the son went crying to Fakir Aziz Sahib, who was the Prime Minister of Maharaja and a very great learned Muslim scholar, who was also a favorite of Maharaja. Of all the people of the court, he was the most favorite one. So the wife said, he has ordered the beheading of the son. Do something. So he said, all right, I'll handle him, okay. So he went to Maharaja and started sympathizing with him. He said, I understand that something is very terrible has happened. That your son disobeyed you. Of all the people, he disobeyed. And so on, for a while, he went step in step with the Maharaja's temper. And then he said he took that horse as if it belonged to his father. What a stupid boy. The moment he said it, the Maharaja understood the difference. It's not always the relationship of Maharaja and the subject. There are some blood relationships which have a different rights. So this is what Allah has said in a way. Illa ashabul yameen. There will be some who would stand as ordinary people before me, but some as preferred ones. They would be on my right side. So I make an exception to them.
If it is not possible to do wuzu, then tayammum is
Permitted.
Yeah. Tayammum is dust is used for doing tayammum, but the dust itself
filthy dust, or
we don't know.
No, you know.
Maybe.
You know the order is to go for the clean dust.
Yes.
So
clean dust. How we could know this?
As best as you can.
I mean, if
it
is on the wall.
It's up to you, your own wisdom. And the standards vary, it's impossible for defining a clean dust, because the standards of cleanliness vary from place to place, and the standard of the cleanliness of dust also varies from place to place. And if no dust, there are places where no dust is available at all, and there you are permitted to tap your hands against any dry thing. So that is just a symbol.
What is the
a symbolic thing? You don't rub your face with dust. That I assure you. You just tap your hands gently and then, make them clean. Just shed the dust particles and then make a movement of a symbolic movement just to represent wuzu. Once Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told of some companions on whom the taking of bath had become imperative. Like wuzu, in Islamic injunctions, there are some situations where you have to take bath. So the taking of bath became imperative upon them. And they started rolling in the dust because there was no water available, like the horses do. So once when this was related to Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he smiled, he said, no, this was not meant at all by Allah. They should have performed the tayammum just like ordinary tayammum. That is just symbolic. So I hope if you had been there, you might have done the same thing.
Sir, I want to know the philosophy of this, why it is said this.
I have told you, it's symbolic. Not to forget that wuzu is important for you. It's just a reminder. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. This is not a sort of a question, it's just a clarification which I want to make, because it's a twofold clarification. When I arrived here, I stayed with non-Ahmadi friends. So we started to buy some chickens and this meat for our cooking.
Quite.
Because we were sharing the kitchen. So he said that why did you buy it from that Christian, you see, that it's not halal and this and that, the question. So I was telling him, you see, that look, the Ahle Kitab Zabiya is all right if halal meat is not available at the time. Anyhow, it is all right. The point arose at that time was, according to our new, the Pakistan's new ordinance, according to them that we are non-Muslims, which we don't accept. Well, now for us, their Zabiya is also Ahle Kitab Zabiya, or again, you see, their Zabiya is a Muslim Zabiya now. Now that is a very important
As far
thing.
as we are concerned,
Yes,
we are not that narrow-minded at all.
yes, sir.
The fact is that anything on which Allah's name has been taken and which has been slaughtered for the purpose of human usage in the manner or near manner of the Muslim way of slaughter, that is all halal for us. But it is the non-Ahmadis who have started doing this. In fact, some Ahmadis have been imprisoned in Pakistan for going for the Zabiha of Eidul Adha. And cases have been registered in Pakistan against Ahmadis for slaughtering goats on the day of Eidul Adha as if they were Muslims. So all this madness belongs to them, not to us.
No, sir, I know it. That's right. But I say according to the regulation now, we are not narrow-minded. We are considering them Ahle Kitab now. We say that all right.
More than Ahle Kitab.
Them,
No. We don't consider them Ahle Kitab at all. We consider them Muslims, but non-Ahmadi Muslims. This is our position vis-a-vis the non-Ahmadis. The fact is the most misunderstood word is kafir, which has been employed extensively by the Muslim clergy of old as well as of new. But the previous scholars knew the meaning of the word kafir in Islamic terminology. The later scholars became narrow-minded and bigoted, and they completely lost touch with the essence of the word kafir as it was used by the earlier Muslim scholars. There has been a regular discussion in jurisprudence about kufr duna kufr and iman duna iman. That there are kufr, that is denials or rejections, which remain within the folds of Islam. And they are just steps within Islam, not outside Islam. This is why Hazur sallallahu alaihi wasallam is known to have declared many Muslims as having committed kufr while they did this, while they did that, and still he called them Muslims. This is why in the Holy Quran it has been told to Hazur sallallahu alaihi wasallam very specifically that those of the Bedouins who call themselves Mu'mineen, you tell them you are not Mu'mins. That is, you are Kafirs. The opposite of Mu'min is Kafir. Yet permit them to be called Muslims, to declare themselves Muslims. So there is a very fine distinction between the word Muslim as loosely and largely applied and the word Kafir within the fold of Islam. It is not the same kafir as those who live outside the pale of Islam and who deny Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those kafirs are called non-Muslims. But who believe in Hazur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Holy Quran, they cannot be declared as non-Muslims by any Muslim. If anybody does that, according to the saying the verdict of Hazur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would immediately become a non-Muslim himself. So nowhere in Ahmadi literature you will find any reference to non-Ahmadi Muslims as non-Muslims. There is a very clear demarcation we have been making throughout. Non-Muslims are called non-Muslims. That is, those who profess any other faith than Islam, and those who declare Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam erroneously and unfortunately to be an impostor. They don't believe in him. All Christians, all Sikhs, all Hindus, everyone who sticks to a certain faith and does not believe in Hazur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only such people are called non-Muslims by Ahmadis. The rest are the Muslims who have rejected Hazrat Imam Mahdi, and out of their own committed profession, they should be treated as kafirs within Islam, of course. They believe in Hazur sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but do not believe in the promised Messiah and in the Mahdi. So their kufr is not imposed upon them by us. It is a kufr of their own commitment and a positive commitment. So when we say kafir, we positively mean a kafir within the four walls of Islam, who has denied in the promised Messiah, in the truth of the promised Messiah, and rejected Imam Mahdi. Now, in this regard, there is absolutely no difference between us and them, in the sense that they also hold the same belief. All the non-Ahmadi scholars positively believe that whenever Imam Mahdi comes, whoever would reject him would immediately become kafir. So they have left us absolutely no choice, whether they like it or not like it. The choice for Ahmadis now is just this: either to declare that we do not believe in Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam, or to declare, because we believe in him to be the true promised Messiah, true Mahdi, so we must automatically believe that you are his kafirs, and in that sense, ultimately, the kafir of Islam, because in that, not directly, indirectly, you will still remain Muslim because Hazrat, you believe in the book. You will still remain Muslim as you believe in Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you are differentiating between those who are sent by Allah. It's a very big crime, and this leads to kufr within the four walls of Islam. So they remain Muslims. They are not to be subjected to the category of Ahl Kitab, which is a different category. All the Ahl Kitabs referred to by the Holy Quran are non-Muslim Ahl Kitab, and these are Muslim Ahl Kitab. So don't call them Ahl Kitab. This is insulting to them, and it's against their belief. Yes, please.
Why this division is Ahl Kitab and non-Ahl Kitab? What affects it in our daily life? Sometimes we don't know.
Yes. The difference is that there are pagans, for instance, those who do not believe in the authority of Allah ever having been revealed to them in the form of a book. And they follow their own personal likings and dislikings. The decision lies with them or with their forefathers, and they attribute those decisions not to God but to either imaginary idols or to their living forefathers who lived in history sometimes before them. So in either case, they do not draw the authority for modeling their life from any book revealed by Allah. On the other hand, there are Ahl Kitab whose history can be traced back to some revealed book. So a differentiation is to be made between these two. Despite the fact that Ahl Kitab themselves, by the passage of time, have got corrupted in their philosophy of life, in their actions, in everything. Yet the Holy Quran makes a distinction. It says originally they have been right, so they should not be treated as totally false. And they should be preferred over those who do not belong to any book revealed by Allah. In what way? The Holy Quran makes itself very clear. In your relationships, in your eating together, in your social contacts, in so many ways. They are preferred to the pagans. Yes, please.
A few days ago, I saw on the news that doctors in the future will be able to predict whether a child who's going to be born is going to be severely deformed or not. In that case, could the parents get an abortion, or is that not allowed under Islam?
Not for this selection. For medical reasons, abortion is permitted, but to not to make choices. This I personally don't like it, but this matter has to be further investigated. As far as the Holy Quran goes, it is clear on one thing, that abortion is not permitted if you are afraid of paucity of food or means of livelihood. لا تقتلوا أولادكم من خشية إملاق. Do not kill your offspring, your children, for the fear of lack of food or shortage of food. That is positively declared haram, forbidden. And there are other reasons for which birth control is applied. They are permissible. But the state which you are telling me is not a state of birth control. It is almost amounting to murder. So if murder is permitted in the uterus, you can further extend it and have the boy murdered after being born. The prevention is a different thing altogether. When life has not come in contact with the other life, that is, the genes of the two sexes have not mended into one child, before that everything is permissible. But after this, only for the medical reasons, because the principle laid down by Islam is this, that the life which has come into being and has flourished already, it has a better right than a possible life. Comparatively, it has the possibility of life has less chances. So if their interests clash, then the life which has already got established, it should be preferred. So this is why if there are health hazards, then all mothers are within their rights to get the abortion. But for the choice of sex, I simply can't accept this. And further investigations could be made. Pardon? Pardon?
If in the doctor's opinion, the child is going to be deformed.
No, he said sex.
Deformed.
I'm awfully sorry. Deformity again, that has gone closer to the borderline. You see? So it all depends, because I think most deformed children also pose some sort of hazard for their mothers. And I know positively in many cases, because the child was deformed, his delivery was not normal, and the mother almost got killed herself in the process of delivery. So in that sense, of course it should be permissible. But as far the rest is concerned, I doubt it. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Those people who do not have the children, nowadays medical research, they have started this implanting genes in an artificial way.
That's right. I have already spoken on this. The fact is that if a mother's and a father's sperm is to be planted in the mother's uterus, either directly or indirectly, there is no reason why it should be prohibited. Because the purity of the generation, that generation is preserved. And that is the principle, one of the principles for the segregation of sexes and all the laws prohibiting free mixing. Purity of blood must be maintained. So that they are within their right. But if somebody else's sperm is to be planted to the mother, then it is the father is the one whose sperm has been planted, and this is all a fraud upon the poor father who is supposed to be father. Yes, it's obviously illegal according to Islam.
It means it is permissible according to
What?
Islam. The planting of fathers.
That is permissible, not somebody else's.
No, not somebody
yes.
else. Yeah. Thank you.
Just now? Yes, please. Come on. Yes, please.
Few of my acquaintances have imported a blind man, you see, from...
What?
Few of my acquaintances have imported a blind man from Pakistan. And they have married him with a blind woman.
Here.
Now, the position is, they are married now. I was of the opinion that they shouldn't have any children.
They shouldn't have?
Any children.
This is your opinion.
That was my opinion.
I see.
But
Based on what?
Pardon?
Based on what?
Based on, because you see, they were incapable of bringing up the child.
No, that is your logic. Based on any word of Allah or your own preference?
No.
Your own preference?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter anything?
No, it's for the matter of discussion, sir.
No. It's in the matters of religion, you must have authority. And the authority is only Allah, no khokar. Please.
Yes. No, but the point was, you see, should they be allowed to have children?
The point was, and it is not. You have used the right tense. The point was, but it is no longer the point. Because I have ruled it out. I am not going to discuss anything which has originated from you. If it pertains to any criticism, just a minute, if it pertains to any criticism of religion, directly or indirectly, then I am responsible for answering such questions. But I am not responsible for answering any questions regarding Akbar's Deen-e-Ilahi, because it has no source.
There were two parties at that time, you see. One party said yes.
You are the third party, please sit down. Any other question, please? Have you seen enough of England? Are you ready to launch?
I've only seen enough of London, not England, sir.
Pardon?
I've seen enough of London, but not England.
Not yet? If it has taken you 10 days to finish London, it would take you 300 days, I suppose, to finish England. But I'll give you 10 more days. Right? Then you should go to your duty, please.
Acha ji.
Will that be enough, or more, you want 5 more days?
I think that should be enough, sir.
All right, I extend it to a fortnight. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Another
question, please.
I wanted to know, Huzur, whether, the line of difference we draw between abortion and preventing pregnancy and the legality or illegality of...
That I already I've told you. Prevention is called azl in Arabic. And according to many traditions, Sahaba exercised azl. That is prevention. Prevention means before the whatever stage before the embryonic stage is called of both the sexes, whatever material they have been provided with by Allah, the mechanism for reproduction, if it comes into play but does not create embryo, then it is called prevention if it is intentionally done. If the embryonic stage begins, then things have gone out of your hands. Then only legally you should go into abortion, otherwise not. And by legality in Islam I mean for the reason of saving a life, but not for trivial reasons of your own comforts and discomforts or likings or dislikings. Any other question, please? You know, there was an experiment made which should have been completely forbidden according to your standards, of course, and that experiment failed bitterly to your satisfaction. I'm telling you this. A blind man was married to a deaf woman. You see? So the result was absolutely devastating for both. You can conceive that situation where a blind man is married to a deaf woman. Blind men can be made to understand things through language of signs. And the deaf woman could not speak, so she made the language of signs which was meaningless to the blind person. And the blind man could not make any language of signs, he could only speak. And the deaf and dumb woman could not understand. So the marriage was unhappily brought to an end, happily for them, within a matter of few days. It was impossible for them to live together. But I have seen marriages between the two blind parties and two deaf parties, and they have been successful. Because both could speak, both could understand their sentiments and their values and things, and in some ways they can be very successful. But for some reasons of convenience, mutual convenience in the sense that both cannot see, so for them to cook and things, it's difficult. But on the other hand, we have also seen blind women who have been so independent, completely independent, that they could cook their own food and the food for others as well. There used to be one blind lady in Qadian who was such an expert. Bhabi Zainab, we used to call her, in cooking and in all these things. She was very clever, that it was a treat to eat things cooked by her. So you are underestimating the blind people and their capabilities. Once I remember in Rabwa during 1951 or after in the early days of Rabwa settlement, there was a very strange and a very unique dust storm of which we had never seen before the like of it. Suddenly overtook us while we were saying Asr prayer. And it was so fast and so thick that it became complete dark. Such pitch darkness I have never seen. You really could not see your own hand at this distance. everything was completely dark suddenly. And it was so awe-inspiring that everybody was really scared to death. Some people even thought that Qiyamah has come or is about to reach. So in that state, after the prayer, when everybody was wondering what has happened, we heard a very calm, peaceful voice, that of Hazrat Hafiz Muhammad Ramzan Sahib. And he said, gentlemen, I know your state, in which your state of helplessness, but I can help. If anybody wants to be led to his house, I'll lead him. Now, a full train, a procession of people followed Hafiz Sahib. And he was told who was following him. So he took them to each one's house, knocked at the door and declared, Mr. So-and-so, enter your house. Mr. So-and-so, enter your house. And he did not commit a single mistake. He was so clever. So don't underestimate the qualities of the blind people. We have seen blind couples coping with the situation very well. So before making your religion, think of these things.
Was there a discussion going on there at that time?
Yes, yes. This is why I'm telling you. Please. Yes.
Only to supplement what Huzur has said just now, I'd cite the example of Maulana Abul Hashim. He was
East Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Yes, yes.
He was a very learned man. He rose to be a minister in the undivided Bengal government, and after that he was head of the Islamic Cultural Central in Dhaka, and he visited Rabwa at the invitation of your predecessor, Huzur.
Yes.
And he was a most highly respected person.
And I'll further supplement your observation by telling you that I held quite a long discussion with him. In fact, those who were appointed by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Salis to meet him and to eat with him during his stay, my name was also included. So we had some very interesting discussions, and he made a very intelligent observation about Rabwa, which I was surprised that exactly in the same manner, the same observation was made by a professor of anthropology from the University of London, who was visiting Pakistan and studying various cultures. So that coincidence struck me very much, because it at least showed that both were of highly intelligent quality, of the same, almost the same station. When at the end of his stay, I casually asked him about his impression of Rabwa, he said, my impression is this, that it is not Pakistan. It is not this continent. It is an island. And when he went back, he wrote a very fine letter of appreciation. And whenever Ahmadis met him later on, he was so deeply impressed by the cultural values. While he was a blind man, yet he could see things, see through people. He was a very intelligent person, I agree with you.
After his return from Rabwa, in spite of opposition by all the Ahmadi ulama, he agreed to chair one of our meetings.
See.
And he threatened to resign in all of the offices he held.
If there is.
He was prevented from presiding over our.
Wonderful. Yes, I know. A very courageous man and illuminated inside by Allah. How is he? Is he still alive? I hope it is.
He certainly was there when I left Bangladesh about 12 years ago.
So any other question or azan? It's your choice. One question can be asked. Yes, please, Salim. You are officiating Chaudhry Muhammad Abdul Rashid very well. Yes,
Sir,
please.
during prayers, we should concentrate on our prayers.
Of course.
But concentration can be created only if there is some figure or some, as I understood, that there must be something so as to concentrate.
Concentrate. You
Concentrate upon.
Don't you ever concentrate upon ideas?
Ideas are
Thoughts.
visualized in mind. Some
Thoughts,
thoughts,
calculations.
the calculations, yes.
Eh?
But the figures, I visualized figures. For example, numbers, how much.
No, but thoughts and ideas and problems to be solved, all these things are points of concentration. So why must you have an idol before you to concentrate upon?
So when I concentrate on thoughts and ideas, I visualize something in my mind that
Of course, you
this should
visualize
happen
characters,
like this.
don't you?
Sorry?
Sometimes you visualize characters.
Yes.
This is why Surah Fatiha first portrays the character of God,
Yes.
for you to concentrate upon that character. The four fundamental attributes of God are given in the beginning just to help you concentrate on the personality of God, which becomes a fact rather than just a myth. Because no Rabbul Alameen can be a myth. No Rahman can be a myth. No Rahim can be a myth. No Malik can be a myth. All these four qualities speak of the greatest facts of life for which we care. In fact, they speak not only of the four attributes of God, but they speak also of the entire gamut of human activity. They revolve round all these four central forces of attraction. So there is so much given to you for concentration, and yet you are complaining that there is not much for you to concentrate. If you begin to concentrate on these things, you can spend your lifetime without exhausting this subject. This I assure you. And even if your children go on doing the same thing, they take up the cudgel from you, until the day of the resurrection, these four attributes of God could not be exhausted, because they cover everything. Everything that is conceivable has its source, its roots in these four attributes. So the azan now, please.